All right, good morning, seventh grade. Welcome back. I know you guys had a restful week off, so we are going to be getting back into a couple of things. This is the first of two videos that you're going to need to watch today. This video is just kind of going over some notes, but before we get into that, I wanted to kind of go back to last week. Excuse my dog whining and complaining in the background. The week we left, we touched on fiction annotating, and we did Pavel's journey together, who were the characters, for setting, conflict, all that. Then you had a passage to do on your own, Smiles to Go. Here's the deal. Some of you did really well on that. Some of you not so much. Now, if you received a grade less than a 70, it is on Parent Portal, and I also copied it on Canvas. For those of you who do not have access to Parent Portal to look at your grades, it is copied on Canvas. Your grades will not always be copied on Canvas, especially if we're back in the classroom. But that is so that you can know. And I have an assignment posted for you to do. That will be how you do your corrections, okay? So I'm actually going to show you that assignment real quick. We're not going to talk about it too much. We're not going to spend too much time on it. But if you need help with that, if you're really stuck on how to do it, email me. We can set something up, and then we can work on it before school, okay? All right, so let's just take a look here. The passage that I have for you, scroll up. Let's see, where is the passage that I have for you to do your corrections? It is under assignments. It is labeled 2/19/2021. The dates are going to change because who'd have thought we'd have been out all week for a snow week. So yes, the dates are going to change. You're going to have an entire week to get this done, okay? But if you'll notice, it is highlighted at the very top. This assignment is only to be completed if you received a failing score for your Smiles to Go, okay, annotating passage. So a lot of you do not need to do anything with this. Okay, this is how the corrections will be done. You do not just add annotations to your Smiles to Go passage and try to hand it back in, because I won't take it. Okay, remember, you can watch the video I posted last week if you need to be reminded of how to annotate, what's important, how do I do this, how do I do that, because I took you guys through it step by step. So you can have this passage out on your computer, then you can listen to the video, watch it, and be working on the passage at the same time. Okay. All right, I have also spelled out exactly what you need to do as we work through this, okay? So you're gonna read it, you're gonna do all your annotating. Coming down here, I've given you the key, because a lot of you, if you got a failing score, it's because you did not annotate at all. You didn't tell me who the characters were, you didn't tell me who the setting was, at all, nothing, nada, nowhere is there any kind of annotating. So I've actually told you how you're going to annotate, okay? Some of you did great, okay? Those of you who did this fine and you got it colored and underlined, great. This doesn't apply to you. But if you got this assignment, you've got to do it, then this is definitely applying to you. You need to find the setting in this story. You need to highlight it in yellow. You need to find the characters. You need to highlight it in blue. Guys, I don't care what shade of those colors you choose. It just needs to be that color, okay? All right, your conflict, your dilemma, your problem, what does the protagonist have to overcome? That is going to be in red. Your resolution is in green, okay? Your any inferences that you need to make needs to be in pink. Any figurative language you find needs to be in purple. And then out to the side, you need to tell me what kind of figurative language it is. Okay, is it a simile? Is it a metaphor, personification? What is it? Okay, any new vocabulary, you need to highlight that in orange and define it to the side. What does that word mean? Okay. Now, here's where most of you lost points. Text evidence. What question is answered in the text? Okay. So if you have 5 questions, somewhere in your passage, I should see where you got the answers for question 1, where you got the answer for question 2, question 3, question 4, and question 5. You need to underline that part of the text and then out to the side, write Q1, Q2, or question 1, okay? That was not an option. That wasn't just a suggestion. No, that was part of the assignment, okay? And some of you did it, a lot of you did not. So you lost points, okay? You could have gotten all the answers correct, but if you did not give me any text evidence, you lost points, okay? All right, next part, your plot elements. Again, if you got a failing score, chances are you're missing some of this, okay? Your plot elements, you needed to do more than just write exposition out next to the very first paragraph or highlight paragraphs 2 through 4 and say rising action, okay? You actually need to tell me, what is your exposition? What is the first rising action, okay? So I've actually, you were supposed to label these at the end of the passage, okay? So I've pre-labeled it for you, but guys, I don't want you to freak out just by looking at all that. Remember, you may not need to use all of the rising action and falling action labels, okay? If you use all 3, you need to have a reason for using all 3, okay? But you will not need more than 3, okay, for a story this small, okay? So if you only have 1, just put in 1, leave 2 and 3 blank, okay? Climax, resolution, okay? Any questions on that? If you have any questions, email me, okay? Coming on down here, we have your question. Which sentence best states the main message of this story? Somewhere, okay, if you think it's A, let's just say you think the answer is A. You're gonna find this sentence in the passage, underline it, and out to the side of it in the passage, you're gonna write Q41. What paragraph did you find that answer? Oh, which paragraph did you find this answer? Right there, you're gonna write the number of the paragraph. So you have given me proof for your answer twice, 2 different ways, and I need both, okay? When you are finished with this assignment, you will turn it in on Canvas. And like I said, just don't pay any attention to the dates. It will be the Friday when we come back for you. But if you guys have any questions, shoot me an email, come to Zooms, we can work through it, okay? All right, on to this week's stuff. Let's see. This week we're gonna just jump right into annotating nonfiction, okay? So nonfiction is gonna be very similar to your fiction, but it will have, it will have some differences, okay? So we're gonna go over the notes first in this video, and then we're gonna use those notes to annotate a nonfiction piece in the next video. Okay, so, all right. So I know it's kind of blurry on my screen, so I am going to be going through each piece. I'm explaining each section what you need to do, okay? All right, so when you are annotating nonfiction, you've got a lot of facts. Nonfiction is all gonna be true stuff. So we need to use ours, and if you guys want to use colors in exchange for circling, underlining, that's fine, as long as it makes sense to you and you don't just hand in one passage completely highlighted in pink and saying, here you go, here's my annotation. Okay, it has to make sense, it has to be able to be followed. Okay, so you are going to circle a powerful word or phrase. Okay, you're gonna need to actually explain what makes this so powerful out to the side. If you're gonna circle it, and out to the side, you need to tell me why that is powerful or why that phrase is important, okay? And if you guys see some of your questions or some of our class discussion, we might refer to the diction. That is the author's word choice, okay? So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Diction, dictation, dictate, what we say, okay? All right, you are going to underline, okay? Anything in the passage you do not understand, okay? Now here's the deal. That does not say how smart you are if you find something you don't understand, okay? Do not be afraid to underline something you don't understand, okay? You may have 2 things underlined in your passage while your friend doesn't have anything. That's okay, okay? Nonfiction is different for everybody, okay? So you're going to do that, and then you're going to try to use some of those context clues to understand what it means, okay? and then write an example of what it means out in the margin. Okay, this can be the same for a new idea that you don't understand, an example you don't understand, or it could just be for those words that we don't understand, the new words. Okay, so that's like your new vocabulary. Okay, but yes, if you don't understand it, put it in the margin. You need to underline it. Okay, if you turn something into me and there's absolutely nothing underlined, that tells me you understood everything in that passage, and that means we could have an in-depth conversation about that passage and you'd be able to follow along. Okay, so be honest with yourself after you read that paragraph. Do I know what that author just tried to tell me? Do I understand everything that's in there? Okay, all right. And then if you can't identify what the word means or what a phrase means from context clues, you've got a few other resources. Okay, you've got a dictionary, you have a thesaurus, you've got classmates who they might know, or you've got me. Okay, if you're at home, you've also got Google that you can try to find the meaning of a word. Okay, but if you just do not know what the word means, don't come to me first, because then I'm going to ask you if you used your resources. Okay, use your dictionary, use your thesaurus, use your Google tool if you need to, use a classmate. But if you still have no idea what this word or phrase means, come ask me and I'll help you. Okay. All right. Next, you are going to use a question mark next to any text that makes you ask a question, any text that seems confusing. Okay. And then to the side, you need to explain why this text gave you some questions. Okay. Write down what your questions might be. What connections can you make to that text? What inferences are you making about that information? Okay. This is where we actually have to be thinking about what we're reading. Okay. All right, you're going to use, and you guys can't really see this piece here, I apologize. It's an exclamation mark, remember, exclamation mark. You're going to put that next to the ideas that you might find surprising. And this may not apply to every passage, okay? But if it does apply, certainly use it if you find something that surprises you. And then in the margin, explain why it surprises you. Why didn't you expect it? Okay. All right. Then you're going to use an arrow, okay, when you are making a connection to the text. Remember your types of connections you can make. Text to text, so maybe it reminds you of something else you've read. Text to self. Does the text remind you of something that has happened to you in the past or that's happening now? And then you could always do text to world, similar to what we did with Pavel's journey. Okay, reminding us text to Titanic. Okay, you can always use those. So draw an arrow when you make that connection and then explain the connection that you have made. Okay, and that'll help you remember the text. Okay. All right, then you need to write down at EX, that's an abbreviation for example. Okay, and you're going to do this next to the author's examples. Okay, for nonfiction pieces, you could have some examples. Okay, again, will not be the case for all nonfiction passages, but it will be for a lot of them. Okay, so how does this example support the author's main point or main idea? How does that example tie into everything? Why are we using it? Why do I have to read about it? Okay. All right. If you have more of an argumentative text or a descriptive text, a chronological text, okay, you are going to use your 1, 2, and 3. You're going to number the author's arguments. Okay. So what arguments does the author give to support this claim? 1, 2, and 3. Key details. What key details does the author give to describe this or to compare and contrast these two things, 1, 2, and 3? What important ideas are shared? That can be 1, 2, and 3, okay, in order. That does not mean number the paragraphs. That means number the key points, the important points, okay? Then you're going to need to explain out to the side what you're labeling, okay? What is important there, okay? hang on. All right, sorry about that. My Zoom is just not cooperating with me today. Okay, so then you've got a couple of things that you're going to write. You're going to write out important thoughts that you might have about the passage out to the side. Okay, then you're going to write any questions you have about that passage out to the side. Okay, maybe at the end you can go back and try to answer some of those questions as you're going through your text. Okay, but here's the thing. When you're done, make sure you take a second to identify how did the author present the material to you. We spent quite a bit of time talking about text structure the third 6 weeks, in the second 6 weeks. And remember, those were compare and contrast, chronological order, problem, solution, cause and effect. Okay. So how did the author give you information? What was the structure? What was the organization? Okay. And that will help you to answer any of your questions. Okay. So let me see if I can cooperate. Let me see. All right. So when you are done with your text and you have written all of your key facts and you are good to go, make sure that you are able to tell me the structure that is used. Okay. And you might be able to tell me what structure is used when you're halfway through it. That's fine too. Okay. Now, do you notice on this page here that we did not circle and underline a character or a setting? Okay. That doesn't mean that they're not going to be in your nonfiction text. That means we're just building on what we're already doing. So for your nonfiction pieces, you're going to do the same thing you did with your fiction pieces, but now you're going to add the nonfiction pieces also. Okay, so you're still going to have a character or a person that you're going to talk about. Make sure you identify it. You're still going to have a setting, a time and a place that something is being talked about, explained, described. Make sure you discuss that. Okay, any of your new words, inferences that you make, all of those things are important. They all build on each other. Okay, all right. So the notes page will be posted to the Google Drive for you if you need to use that while you're using the video to work through your next passage. Okay. The next video that will be posted to this announcement will be the demonstration that I'm going to go through a nonfiction piece with you, just like we did with Pavel's Journey. Okay. So you can open up your own version of that document and then watch the video, make the annotations as we go on. Then you've got a perfect example. Okay. If you follow that example on your assignment, you'll have everything you need. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, send me an email, or if you have any computer techie glitches where you can't see the notes, or if you're having trouble with the Zooms, shoot me an email and we will get you through it. Okay. All right. Hope you guys stay warm, stay safe. See you later.